Hello, I'm Sam Neill, all the way from New Zealand, welcoming you to the Graham Norton Show.
Welcome to the show. Clapping ourselves in an empty room with just a few sycophantic members of staff to cheer us along. I feel like Boris Johnson visiting Scotland. I don't know exactly where he visited. Perhaps it was the famous Scottish resort of Lockdown. Okay, it's been a long year already. No audience here in the studio, but we do have our fantastic virtual audience watching from home. Hello, everybody. Look at them. Pages of them. Pages. I know why you're all happy. He has only 2 more days of dry January left. Like anyone's been doing that. So who have we got for you on the show tonight? Well, with me here in the studio, it's comedian, actor, turned novelist, Andi Osho! Star of Cold Feet and The Hobbit is Nesbitt! Star of Doctor Who and I Hate Susie, Billie Piper is joining us! And it's the voice himself, music legend Sir Tom Jones! Plus, shortly we'll be joined live from New Zealand by Jurassic Park star Sam Neill will be here. I know. Good. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Not bad. Yes, you might well clap. It's a very good show. Yes. Billy can't stop. So welcome all. First time for you, Anne.
Yes.
Good to see you. Yeah. And Billy and Jimmy, do you know each other, don't you?
Billy and I know each other, yeah. A long time ago, I think I was with you in your first...
It was my first professional job, yeah.
Yeah, it was a BBC adaptation of The Canterbury Tales by Short Joss.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Pete Barker.
That's right.
They were shooting it quite quickly.
Yeah.
And you have to get to know each other really quite quickly, if you recall. I mean,
yeah, I think it was my first of many sex scenes.
I know, but it's like you sort of meet and you go, oh, hi, I'm Billy, hi, I'm Jimmy, and this is my arse.
Yeah.
And Sir Tom, a double celebration for Tom Jones, because since we last met, you've unbelievably turned 80 years old.
Yeah.
That's yeah. And there should be a confetti cannon or something, because you've also you've had the vaccine.
Yes, 2 of them.
Oh, yeah!
You're fully vaccinated.
I got the 2, yes.
Let's all cough on Tom.
Yeah!
I know, and that was 2 weeks ago when I had the second one.
Oh.
So now I'm, like, you know, bulletproof.
Oh, I'm going to be gobbing. It's all going in your direction. Let's actually, we should all hug Tom.
Let's hug
Tom. So you're good.
Yes. Now everybody else is going to get it.
Yes,
you know, because I thought, oh, I'll be able to go out and sing some live shows now. But you've got to have an audience for that. if they haven't had it, what's the point?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now you're singing for us later.
Yes.
I'm delighted to say, live in the studio.
Yes.
And that is the treat, isn't it? Like, just us in this room, and then you're going to be singing.
Exactly.
But I was thinking, you know, you've been going a while.
Yes, quite a while, yes.
And, like, a new record, a new single, do you still enjoy it? Do you still get excited?
I love it. I sing around the house. I sing when I don't get paid for it. I mean, I love to sing. I really do, and it's get the hook. You know, it's any chance I've got of getting up and singing, I will.
Because Billie Piper, how long was it before you got tired of the singing?
Like 3 years. I was retired by 18, and then I met you. That was my journey.
Was that the tipping point as well
That
when
was
you
the
met
tipping
Jimmy?
point,
Then
yeah.
it was like, I'm out.
Then everything
I'm out.
changed.
This is for me now.
This is for me.
And did you knocked it on the head, didn't you? Rather than, it didn't knock you on the head, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I knocked it on the head when I was 18. So I think I signed my record deal when I was like 14. And then you always show that picture. They look like I haven't got any other.
It's just on my computer. It randomly pops up.
Not just yours.
You love that shot. So yeah, by 18 I was done, dusted, exhausted, and ready for a big change.
Look at Tom Jones.
I know. Well, that's something completely different.
That's
Well,
steak.
you can sing really well for a start. That's a defining difference.
Because, Andy, now, you were in a band, weren't you?
That's right, yeah. I think for probably about 6 weeks. I think,
Okay.
yeah, we got a letter from the people who were running the band or whatever, telling us that they didn't want me and my mate in the band. It was like the weirdest way to get rejected from a band. It was like being rejected for a mortgage. Because it was like, just tell us to our faces. We were only 16, and I think...
Were you in school?
Well, we were in school, but they were in college. They were grown up.
So they had access to a printer.
Yes. Down to. Yeah, it was pretty humiliating.
And, you know, James Nesbitt, fabulous actor, but I think it's fair to say that music was your first love.
Well, it was. No, I sang a lot as a child. We were from quite a musical family.
And you were in musicals.
I was in musicals. I mean, the first job I did was I played the Artful Dodger.
People talk of it still.
Yeah, yeah. Well, people say I'm still playing exactly the same role. But different character. Yeah, no, I played the Artful Dodger when I was 13.
And then did telly come calling immediately?
Well, my friends, as a result, wrote to Gloria Hunniford. Do you remember Gloria?
Of course.
Gloria Hunniford, and Gloria used to do was like the doyen of kind of news and magazine kind of television programmes. She was the Graham Norton of her day. Gloria.
She's the Gloria Hunniford of now.
And she is. I mean, she's a fantastic woman.
Yeah.
And my friends had written to her about, unbeknownst to me, saying that they wanted to set up an Ulster Youth Theatre. And she did a live magazine show every night. And so I knew nothing about this. I was playing rugby, actually, in Coleraine at school one day. I was dragged off the pitch. I was thrown into a car by this director and my mates. We were taken up to Belfast, went live on the show in our costumes from Oliver that we put on in the car on the way up. And at the end of the week, we did a bit of a chat with Gloria about setting up an Ulster Youth Theatre. We were 13. And at the end of it, Gloria said, well, we've got a bit of time, so the boys are going to sing us out with There's No Business Like Show Business, which is not a song from Oliver. So we stood behind Gloria, and she went, take it away. And the other two couldn't sing to save their lives. We went, there's no business like show business, like no business I know. So this terrible, awkward silence, and Gloria just went, oh, well, at least they're all full of spunk. Now, when you're 13, spunk means one thing. And so I burst out laughing. Meanwhile, my mother and father were in Coleraine, waiting for me to come home from rugby for my tea, so it was quite a rude awakening to my TV career.
Well, now, annoyingly, we don't have the clip of Gloria talking about your spunk.
Yeah.
But we do have another clip. How old are you in this clip? Do you know the one? You know the one I mean.
Oh, all that jazz.
Yeah.
Oh, I love
Oh, no, I'm 13 or 14 in this.
It's
Oh, I can't.
This is...
beautiful. No, this is... So, 14-year-old... What are you going to say?
My children love this. My children, when Mary and Peggy, often, if I've said something to annoy them or whatever, they'll just send me a still from this, or they'll send the video of this. So, and they'll say, how did you ever have children?
Oh, no.
Wow.
This is 14-year-old Jimmy Nesbitt
God.
performing All That Jazz.
Oh, God.
Oh, babe, why don't we paint the town? And all that jazz, rouge your knees and roll your stockings down. And all that jazz, start the car and know a whoopee spot where the gin is cold but the piano's hot. It's just a noisy hole where there's a nightly brawl and all that jazz.
What a voice.
I don't remember being that camp, actually.
The thing that I can't understand is, I'm sure if we had a clip of Tom Jones at 14, it wouldn't look as old as that bit of film. It looks like you're performing in the Titanic.
Yeah. I should have been, actually. Yeah.
Oh, right, let's crack on. What an amazing time to be Billie Piper. You are in such a role, Billie
Thank
Piper.
you.
I Hate Susie, such a big hit. Which was, I mean, were you daunted? Were you terrified? Or did you kind of think, oh, well, here we go?
I was really excited for the show to come out because it felt like I was doing something finally that that made sense to me, and it's a big howl, really, of everything, so it felt very satisfying. And also it's kind of weird, and actually I am a bit weird. So it's nice to put that out there.
Well, you own it. I mean, did you see the tweet just yesterday? Did you see this? You must have seen this tweet.
No, I haven't seen the tweet.
The Lena Dunham one.
What's Lena Dunham saying?
Lena Dunham, you know, created Girls and loads of other things. She tweeted this just yesterday. I Hate Susie is the best show on TV. Billie Piper is a crazy genius, and there's so much to say about being a flawed woman with a runaway libido. Heaven.
Here, here.
Nice.
I love runaway libido.
It's good.
It's true.
And presumably she saw it because I think it's still on Sky On Demand and now...
Yeah, and she's in London now. Not that that matters.
But you are here tonight. This is exciting. You're here tonight with a new movie, Rare Beasts. And this is a rare beast because not only do you star in it, talk about sense of ownership. So this one you wrote and directed.
Yeah. About 2 years ago. Apparently it's coming out in May, but I'm not entirely sure. It will be
let's
released...
pretend it is.
Let's pretend it is.
Let's talk as if it is.
It will be released this year, and that will be great, finally. Because it's almost like a phantom film. I'm starting to think it never happened. It's becoming uncomfortable.
Have you been working it all that time, or did you finish it completely that long ago?
I finished it 2 years ago, and then started filming Susie. But Susie happened to come out before. It's just the way it's worked this time.
But you did such a great job on this, and how do you describe it? Because it's not a rom-com, but it is funny, and it is about dating, sort of.
Yeah, I think people want to sort of call it this anti-rom-com, and I think that's too easy in a way. For me, it's like a pitch black comedy, a borderline horror. But people don't like it when I say that, so I have to make it shiny.
Why it may or may not come out this year.
Yes, the one that the film that apparently I wrote, directed and starred in.
This is a clip. This is you on your first date with Pete, played by Leo Bill. He's great.
Oh, he's such a good actor, yeah.
OK, this is the first date.
You'll marry me in a year.
Unlikely.
Oh, come on, we can get on. I don't want this to be some 3-year arrangement where you're hemorrhaging your youth to no end. What will do that, modern woman? Let's just say that if, after a year, we're undecided about marriage, then we'll part company. I could see that coming. You ain't like a pig. Come, please. Just think about me all night. I pretty much adore you.
Taxi!
I'm gonna go home and whack over your Instagram pictures, okay?
I mean, it's so brutal, but so well observed.
It is brutal, it's bonkers, but I just feel like that's what life feels like now. I feel like everyone's at the end of their rope, and I think that's sort of represented in the film.
Brilliant. Well, Billie's new film is called Rare Beasts, and it's due for general release on the 5th of May. Right, time to meet our virtual guest tonight. He's the star of Jurassic Park, Peaky Blinders, and Hunt for the Wilder People. It's Sam Neill, everybody! Whoa! Hey! Hello, Sam Neill.
Lovely to see you, Graham Norton.
Well, I like the look of your kitchen.
Yeah.
It's entirely devoted to alcohol. Yeah, you'd be very welcome here and very much at home, I would think.
So this is your vineyard, is it?
Yes, it is. That's a lovely morning. It's about 9 o'clock, and do you want to see outside?
Oh yes. So this is New Zealand. Oh wow!
Sunny day.
You should have had strangers kissing or something, just to really show off. It's sunny and we don't have COVID.
I feel slightly weird talking about it to you because I know the UK is in such dire straits that we have 3 cases in the community and the whole country is very nervous. So it seems odd by comparison, doesn't it? But we're a little bit on edge at the moment.
And this place presumably looks familiar to you, Jimmy Nesbitt.
Looks very familiar to you. Hi, Sam.
Hello, Jimmy.
Yeah. No, I met Sam when I was over doing The Hobbit, and then I was lucky enough to spend some time with Sam down in the vineyard, down in the South Island. It's beautiful. But I spent a day with Sam on the farm. We spent the morning shoveling shit. We are actors.
Good.
And then we actually had a bit of a wine tasting competition in there, I think.
Do you have any recollection?
I do. First of all, We wallowed in compost. That's an Irish thing that we have in common. And then Smelling Sweetly, we then had a taste off, and he won. It was really irritating.
Yeah.
And now, Samuel, Tom Jones, you've met.
Yes,
Do you remember where?
I do. Yes, at the Greek Theatre. It was at a Sting concert,
Oh, wow.
and Sam was backstage, and I asked him what he was doing. You know, what are you up to? And he said, well, I'm doing this movie about there's these dinosaurs in it, but you don't actually see them. He said, I'm acting, I'm looking up and doing this, that, and the other, but they're going to be put in later on. So I don't know what's going to happen with it. Jurassic Park.
I tell you, we know what happened to that. Yeah.
I was delighted to meet Tom, and I found myself in a circle where there was Tom Jones, the great Tom Jones, Herbie Hancock, the immaculate Herbie Hancock, Sting, and myself. I thought, this is a super group. This has got to be a super group. But I'd be the sort of joke drummer, you know, that it's always the drummer.
I met a few of those.
Yeah.
Well, Sam Neill, you've got a movie to tell us about. This is Rams. It stars yourself and the Australian actor Michael Caton. And this is very close to your heart, I think, this film. So tell us about it. It's a lovely film.
Yeah, it was been on release in Australia and New Zealand. And I'm getting such wonderful feedback from it. People say, you know, I feel so much better having seen this film. So it's gratifying to get that feedback. But it has its genesis in a beautiful Icelandic film, which was actually rather grim. Our film is very different. It's about two brothers who haven't spoken for 40 years, and who love sheep. There's a small romance in it with Miranda Richardson, who's an old friend of mine. But it's mostly about sheep and men and community. And it's rather touching and lovely and a little sad, but also very sort of heartwarming. It's a lovely film.
It is, because it is that thing where the tone of it shifts. Like, you know, sometimes it's really tragic and then it can be very funny and whimsical and quirky. It's a really special thing.
Yeah, and for lovers of sheep, there's no better film, I think, you know.
Rams, it's available on all digital platforms from next Friday. And we've got a clip, Sam. This is you settling in with your new housemates.
Good morning, my lovelies. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, yeah, there you go. Oh, my lovely girls. Lovely, lovely girls. Oh, I love you. Say that you love me. Oh, my, it's a beautiful day. Oh, man. Get on, Tim, get on. Come on. Ready to go. Bring her in. Get behind. Let's take the car. Good dog. Where you go? Bring her in. Good dog. Get it. Yeah. Good. Oh, come on, stop mucking around. Bring her in, Kim. Come on. Give it. Stop mucking around. Bring her in. Oh, come on. Good girl. Go on. Nothing out here for you, darling. You're a good girl. Oh. As for you.
How hard is that? You can't train sheep, can you?
You can to an extent, but a sheep is an animal of a limited capacity for... you don't see sheep in circuses, for instance.
And presumably you liked spending time with them because you have a lot of livestock, don't you?
Yes, I have goats and sheep and cattle and a lot of chickens. You know, these terrible battery farms, which I thoroughly disapprove of. One was going bust the other day, and there were a lot of chickens looking for homes. I already have about 24 chickens, so now I'm up to 36, I think, at last count. It's at least 36. So there's a gang of them out there, and they all think I'm wonderful. So it's like having Tom Jones fans, actually.
Very good. Oddly, Billie Piper, you too have joined the world of chicken donors.
Yeah, we have chickens. We have 2 chickens.
Just the 2?
Just the 2.
What are they called?
One's changed its name a few times, Bright Bomber, and then it was Bob, and then the notorious chicken, Cockerel, both cockerels, wanted layers, got cockerels, it's like potluck. His name is Heavy Metal.
Wait a minute, so these are the 2 cockerels?
This is one cockerel in different poses.
OK.
And this is a competitive bird. You can enter them for competitions. They have amazing plumage.
I don't think that's what happens. I think...
But it's actually...
I don't think that's a competition anyone wants to do.
But it looks fantastic.
It does.
But it's awful.
Oh.
It's a horrible, aggressive cockerel. He's become a real problem.
And loud.
Very loud, but sort of swoops down at you, chases you around the garden, puts his wing out and sort of circles you. And now it's doing this. And apparently I said to this guy down the road, like, what am I going to do about this? And he's like, you just got to show him who's boss.
But he's so gorgeous. How could you possibly discipline?
I think he's very frustrated because I think he wanted this competition life, and he said he got asked in lockdown.
What he might like is a hen. I mean, I'm not a vet, but that might cheer him up.
I can't take any more risks.
And Sam Neill, you've talked about your animals on the show before, and I hesitate to ask, am I still alive, Sam?
You're not only alive, you're the #1 bull now.
Woohoo!
Very disappointing.
I think we've got that's me.
Masculinity. Look at it.
Wow. That's great, Norton. Now, it's less good news, I believe, for James Nesbitt.
Well, Jimmy Nesbitt. Jimmy served us well, but he got old and very arthritic.
Oh, no.
And,
has he not made it? Is he no longer with us?
He's no longer with us. He had to be put down. He was in quite a lot of pain. And we gave him an honourable burial down at the end of the farm. A huge grave. I mean, it's the size of the house.
Well, it'll take one from me.
Wait a minute. You dug a hole for that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can't just bring them out.
Don't they explode?
What?
Isn't that a thing? Don't wild...
Our animal expert, Andy's asked a question.
Does livestock explode after it's expired? Is that urban myth? A rural myth?
It's a very urban myth.
I made it up.
Jimmy Nesbitt in his prime was something to behold, though, Sam. Is that all right?
Yeah, it's a fantastic bull. And I couldn't in all conscience, with a distinguished name like Jimmy, I couldn't really turn him into sausages. So here's a grave and a little marker on him. So R.I.P. dear old Jimmy.
Have you got a Tom Jones yet? Surely Tom Jones is ripe for the farm.
And I'm Welsh.
Tom,
you know,
right.
God.
I've got a couple of new rams who are unnamed, as a matter of fact.
Well, hello.
All right,
And very quickly, Sam, Andy, I know you're a big fan of Jurassic Park.
Definitely.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Everyone, hey! Because the new one finished? Do we know when that's going to see the light of day?
Yeah, well, it was supposed to be May of this year, but it's been put back for a year, so it's May of 22. Yeah, and gosh, time's gone so weird these last few months, hasn't it? Yeah, May of 22, and we shot it all at Pinewood. So I spent most of last year in England, and it's going to be huge. So hopefully there's still some cinemas open, and people want to get back to the movies.
Well, hopefully you can come and tell us about it in May 2022. That'd be great.
Hope to see you again.
Thank you very much for getting us up so early in lovely New Zealand and talking to us. Rams is available on all digital platforms next Friday. Sam Neill, everybody!
Bye, Sam.
Bye-bye, Sam! Oh, lovely.
I think but I love the bit where he said it's about men and sheep and there's some romance. And I'm sitting here going, don't say anything, don't say anything. And he's giggling, going, sounds like Wales. What the hell?
Exactly.
No, Miranda Richardson's the romance.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah, she's carrying the weight of the romance.
Sam is the greatest.
Isn't he lovely?
He's just the
Yeah.
nicest man.
OK, let's turn to Jimmy Nesbitt. He brings us a gripping new crime thriller, Bloodlands, coming next month to BBC One. And this has amazing pedigree. It's from the people who made Line of Duty and The Bodyguard. And
So it's Jed Mercurio.
who you've known for a long time.
Well, I knew him. I did a show years ago, Jekyll, which was written by Stephen Moffat, and Jed's partner produced it. And I've known Jed for a long time. And Jed's also had a lot of presence in Northern Ireland for a long time because he makes Line of Duty there. I mean, I was never in it. Series 6, Series 7. And so I saw him a bit over the years, and I would say, God, I'd love to work together. And, you know, we knew of each other. And Jed was sent scripts by new writers. He read one of them called Bloodlands. And he's immediately, I think, thought of sort of me. And so it finally came to pass. And I mean, and when Jed sort of gives you a call, it's like God calling, really. I mean, you know, and says, will you work for me? Yes, I'll die for you. Yeah. And so it's a thriller set in Northern Ireland. I play a policeman called Tom Brannock coming to the end of his time. And it's about me on the hunt for a legendary assassin.
And it's really twisty dirty, and you don't know who's good, who's bad. It's really good. And as beautiful as Northern Ireland is to look at, it provided certain kind of acting challenges for you.
Yeah.
Kind of,
Yeah, it's fucking cold. I mean, it was, we were filming from January to March, and it was, I mean, it was freezing.
Around the water and everything.
Well, in Strangford Lough, when the wind comes up the loch, I mean, it is bitter, you know. And if you're playing kind of a hard-nosed sort of detective who's on the case for, you know, of huge personal significance to him, you're going out on kind of ribs along the loch at 6 and 7 in the morning. I mean, it was. I mean, often we couldn't speak, or like the jaws were frozen. Have you ever had that?
I've had my jaws sort of lock whilst I've been filming in the cold.
I know. There's a shot. I mean, that shot there. There's like that's after
Like that.
That's after I've been. No, I look grim, determined, and kind of like stony faced there. That's me getting off a boat after 7 hours, going, get me into my Mercedes, get me back to my theatre, get me into my hotel room.
I want a giant hairdryer on me now.
But it was also, it's just an important and exciting time for Northern Ireland. It's important that we continue to make these shows there as we continue to try and turn this kind of piece into a social and economic and cultural prosperity for the young people.
And obviously there's big action sequences, and there's this one now. What was the involvement in this with your family?
Oh, God, yeah. That was after a particularly bad catering set at lunch. I don't know, that was...
You were cold. I'm going to set fire to the car.
That's my sushi. No, that was... but that was filmed in Ballyclare, which is a kind of market town in Northern Ireland. And my Aunt Edith, a formidable, small, brilliant religious woman, but she knew I was filming in Ballyclare. But she was coming back from the shop, and we were doing this stunt. There were police cars going, a petrol bomb being thrown. I'm putting a policeman on fire out. But she went up to one of the policemen there, kind of standing back, and she said, "What's happening?" And this policeman said to her, "Oh, it's James Nesbitt." And she went, "My James is filming here today. What's happened to him?" And she didn't realise that they were in the middle of a stunt.
The heart was a crosser.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a clip. This is you getting your colleague up to speed on the case.
OK.
Yeah.
These are the original Goliath disappearances, the ones who preceded Keenan. David Corey, Joe Harkin, and Father Simon Quinlan.
A priest?
And an IRA arms dealer. Joe Harkin was an IRA quartermaster, and Corey, he was from the other side. He was a Protestant paramilitary godfather. That's what made it all the more puzzling. It wasn't one side or the other. His targets were people who were a threat to the peace process on both sides. He kept it even-handed.
You said there were 4 targets.
Mm-hmm. He also murdered my wife.
So that is Bloodlands. I always think those bits of acting must be so hard. The bit where I'm not talking, but they're still filming, and here we go.
Yeah, and but I mean, it's so you know, such a good bunch of people to work with. I mean, Chris Brandon, who wrote it, was kind of overseen by Jed, and Jed McCreary, he's God.
Yeah.
To tell you the truth.
Well, listen, Bloodlands is coming to BBC One next month. And talking of Jed McCreary and Line of Duty, Andi Osho over there, you're in the new Line of Duty, aren't you?
That's right.
Oh! Tell us all about
Put a
it!
word in for you, don't worry.
Wow. And this was your first time to Northern Ireland? I mean, I've lived there all my life, but I never got in it.
I was just there on a holiday, and Jed was there, and he was like, do you want to be in Line of Duty?
Wow.
It's so weird.
That is kind of rude. OK.
Yeah, honestly, I put in a word.
Have you finished? Have you finished it now?
I finished. I've done my bit.
OK.
Yeah.
It must be so weird walking around with that in your head.
I'm a real fan of the show as well, so it's very hard to keep my cool and just go, Steve, there's Steve. And you can't. You just, oh, hi, yeah, hi, yeah. I'm an actor too, yeah, hi.
But now, you are, obviously we know you as a stand-up and an actor, but you're here tonight to talk about your debut novel, Asking for a Friend.
Oh, you have a copy?
I have a copy.
Oh, bizarre.
Yeah. Have you not seen it? You must have seen it.
I love it. I was so taken aback by the fact that it's embossed, like the title's embossed.
Posh,
I forgot that
posh.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Tiny?
Yeah.
What?
Woo! And it's a comedy, but it's also about friendship. But the premise is this idea of friends playing a dating game. So explain the dating game and the rules of it. Because you came up with this game, right?
Yeah. So basically, the three girlfriends that the book is about, they are kind of stuck in terms of relationships for different reasons. And so they decide that they're going to sort of take their dating lives on and go out and just ask guys out in real life, but for each other. And they set up a load of rules, you know, like you're not allowed to veto, you're not allowed to do anything illegal, and, you know, various things like that. So, so the story is just about kind of what happens to them as they sort of go out on the prowl looking for dates.
Because you've done some extreme dating. I love the idea of your Edinburgh show. So explain the thing that went on in your Edinburgh show.
Yeah, so I wrote an Edinburgh show, I think it was like 2011, and it was basically about dating, but at the end of every show, I would ask someone out in the audience, or I would basically get their mates to sort of volunteer them, because no one ever volunteered themselves. It was always like, yeah, you go, and like push someone forward, and, you know, everyone else stepped back. So, yeah, I ended up in some quite interesting situations.
Because you actually went on a date with them.
Yeah, I went on the dates afterwards. Yeah, 100% did it.
Like, to what point?
With people watching out for me, chaperones, like sitting a few tables away. I also had like a fake gin and tonic that I would, this alcohol, yummy, it's just tonic water. But there was like a couple of guys that were, well, there was one guy who was lovely, but he had grown-up children. So it's just like, I'm going to be your new mummy. And the very first guy I went on this date with, he just looked absolutely terrified. And I took a selfie of us, and he's just like that in the selfie. Like, he's this French guy, and I'm feeling like, I don't know if he knows what's going on here. Like, I don't know if he knows he's on a date with me.
And were there any second dates?
I'm going to shock you. No. There were no second dates.
After a month of Edinburgh?
I know. Can you believe that? A lot of sex.
OK.
But with the dates?
Oh.
Sometimes it ended in...
No, that didn't happen. Mum, that didn't happen.
Swings and roundabouts, kind of.
No, there were some swings.
And now, are you back here full-time? Because you moved to America, am I right?
Yeah, I was sort of backwards and forwards, like spending time there and here. But I thankfully moved back sort of a couple of years ago, about 18 months ago. And I feel like it was
the right choice.
Exquisite timing, given the state of the country's burning right now. So, yeah, glad I moved back.
Because, Tom Jones, how long did you live in LA for?
41 years.
Ooh, wow. So clearly you liked it.
I did like it.
Yeah.
I did. It was a sunshine and everything, you know. I mean, and because I'm a live performer, I'm on the road a lot, or used to be when I was younger anyway. And then, so to me, it was like a holiday place. You know, I'd go back to LA when my wife was there in the house, and I'd be out by the pool most of the time.
Yeah.
And I didn't really have to do anything. Once in a while, I would do a TV show, you know, or I would record something, you know, and it's all there, of course, whatever you want to do. But it was so easy.
And handy for Vegas and all that sort of stuff, isn't it?
Well, yeah, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, I was working a lot in Las Vegas, so I could fly there or just drive up there. So...
And tell me this, when you went, I think the first time you went, was it to do a TV show, 1967 or something?
65.
65. And is that when you met Elvis for the first time?
That's when I met Elvis Presley. I was there. And
Don't try and compete.
Yeah.
yeah, there you go. Like, see,
Get the coat.
so I got there, and you know, it was wonderful. We were staying in the Gene Autry Hotel, you know, on Sunset Strip at the time. And Gene Autry was there. I saw him standing there, you know, and I mean, God, you know, this is unbelievable. My first year in show business. And then I had to go to Paramount Studios for a song for something, and they said, Elvis Presley's going to be there tomorrow, and he would like to meet you. I thought, Elvis Presley wants to meet me? It was unbelievable.
God.
And I went there, and you know, to go and see about this song, and they said, Elvis is filming, and, you know, once they stop the filming, you go in. So I did, and then they closed the doors again, and I'm standing in the back there with the Memphis Mafia, these guys that work for him, and he's in this little mock helicopter with this girl, and they did a scene, you know, and I'm like, looking, my God, it's Elvis Presley, and then they said, okay, cut, and he looked across and went, you know, and I was like, you know, looking at these fellas with me, they said, Elvis is waving at you, don't wave back. Me? You know, like, whoa. So anyway, so he gets out of this helicopter and he starts walking towards me. Well, I had a single record out at the moment. It was my third single called With These Hands. It was a ballad. It was a beautiful song. And Elvis is walking towards me going, with these hands,
Oh, my God.
I will cling to you. Right? And he's going, I'm you. And I thought, my God, if the boys back home could see me now, you know. it was unbelievable.
That's amazing. Elvis Presley story. Well, listen, Tom, the time has come for you to perform, so you'd like to make your way over to the stage over there.
Right.
There he goes. Good man. Lovely. Now, shortly, we'll be having some stories from the red chair. And as our audience are watching from home, of course, I need somebody to volunteer for the chair. Do we have a volunteer? Is it you?
No.
Are you volunteering?
I think so.
Are you going to do it?
Yeah, gladly.
Oh, excellent. Well done. OK, here performing his current single, No Hole in My Head, from the new album Surrounded by Time, it is Tom Jones!
Everybody thinks my head's full of nothing. They wanna put their own special stuff in. Fill up the space with candy wrappers. Keep out sex and revolution. But there's no hole in my head. Too bad. They call me a dupe for this and the other. Call me a puppet on a string. They don't know my head's full of me, and that I have my own special thing, and there's no hole in my head. Too bad. I have lived such early childhood, figuring out what's going on. I know what hurts, I know what's easy, or when to stand and when to run. But there's no hole in my head. Too bad. So please stop shouting in my ear. There's something I want to listen to. There's a kind of bird song up there somewhere. People walking when I want to run. And there's no hole in my head. Too bad. Full of nothing, trying to put their own special stuff in. Fill up the space with candy wrappers. Keep out sex and revolution. But there's no hole in my head. Too bad. No, there's no hole in my head. Too bad. I can say whatever I want to say now. do what I ever want to do. Well, within reason. Yeah.
Tom Jones, everybody! Fabulous job. Come on back, please do. A chair awaits you. Oh, Tom Jones, how amazing was that? Oh. That, I mean, the voice, it's full on. Well done.
It still works.
It really does still work.
Thank God.
It's fantastic. That's from the new album, Surrounded by Time.
Yes.
And that is out on the 23rd of April. But that single is out now. And I was saying to you, I wasn't aware of that song, but it is an old song.
It was by Malvina Reynolds, and she was around in New York in the early 60s.
There.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the Bob Dylan, you know, a lot of those people,
Yeah.
Pete Seeger. They all loved her.
And her kind of Ain't No Hole in My Head was kind of people, they misjudged her because they thought she was just a, you know, middle-aged woman. And
Yeah, well, she was trying to say for people in general, really, you know, to do your own thing, you know, and not to try to be molded into something that you're not. You know, in the music business, you know, they try to tell you that you got to look like this or you got to look like that.
Yeah.
You know, I had curly hair when I first came up to London, and it doesn't work anymore. I mean, what? You know, curly. So they try to make you into something else. So thank God, you know, as time has gone on, of course, but you've got to prove a point.
Yeah. Well, listen, thank you very much for that beautiful performance. Tom Jones, everybody.
Thank you.
Really amazing. So good. Right, that is nearly it. Before we go, just time for a visit to the big red chair. Is Mr. Nesbitt... Oh, there? Oh, look at him. He is ready. OK. OK, Jimmy's ready. Let's find out who's telling a story to keep you in that chair. Hello, sir.
Evening.
What's your name?
My name's Brian.
Brian. And where are you from, Brian?
I'm from the North Norfolk coast, a small village called Munsley.
Munsley, OK. And you are telling a story to keep Mr. Jimmy Nesbitt in that chair, OK?
Absolutely.
OK, good luck, everyone. Off you go with your story.
Here we go. I'm in London. I'm in East London. It's dark. It's drizzly. I'm lost. Seriously lost. Bursting for a pee. I look at the floor. There's the water bottle there, but I can't reach it. Stuck in this traffic queue for an hour. I'm fed up. I'm miserable. I look out the screen and see a man in a high-vis jacket. I decide to get out the car and ask him what's going on. I get out the car, he walks towards me and says, "Whoa, whoa, you cannot get out your car here, buddy." I said, "Well, why not?" He said, "Well, because you're on the Woolwich Ferry."
Jimmy, I must apologise.
No.
I'm sorry, but you understand.
I completely understand. I mean, I'm surprised it took so long.
I didn't understand. Well, I guess I kept thinking this story will make sense in a minute.
Where was he? He was in East London.
Well, somehow he'd driven on a ferry without knowing. He must have been out of his mind.
But I thought there was a bottle in his car.
That's what I thought the bottle was in the car. Anyway, I think we're overanalyzing. Let's try another one. Let's try another one.
Good.
Oh, no, this has got to be the story. This is the story.
This is the one.
This is the one. Hello, what's your name?
My name is Bernie.
Bernie. Oh, and where are you from, Bernie?
Belfast in Northern Ireland.
Oh, we knew it. We knew it. OK, and beautiful interior decoration, lovely, beautifully framed. And what do you do in Belfast?
I'm a social worker, but I'm often sick leave. I'm getting treated for cancer, so more recently I'm writing poetry.
Good on you, Bernie.
Very good. Well, we applaud all your endeavours. OK, off you go with your story.
OK, so this happened a number of years ago when my first child was born. And my husband and I, like a lot of new parents, were completely sleep deprived. But we had invited a couple of friends round that we hadn't seen for many years and they'd come a long distance to meet us, really having a wonderful, wonderful evening, really enjoying ourselves. But as the evening wore on, like a lot of new parents, my husband and I were getting more and more tired, and they just weren't getting the cues, the yawns, nothing was working. So I threw my husband a look at one stage of the evening, and I asked him to check the child. So he went up to the child's bedroom. I made my excuses, said I was just nipping to the loo, I'd be back shortly. So up I went, and the two of us, we started plotting in the bedroom as to how we could get them to leave, tactfully, diplomatically, without hurting anyone's feelings. So anyway, once we were finished, we come down the stairs, we were all ready for the big plan. We got there, they started to put their coats on, and they were acting very oddly. and they seemed very offended. So we thought nothing more about it. We're so delighted, obviously, that we were going to get off to bed. So off we went, started cleaning up the dishes. And then I heard the baby crying through the baby monitor and realised they'd heard the whole thing.
Very good. You can walk. You can walk.
Walk, Bernie.
Love you guys.
Oh, Bernie. Lovely Bernie. OK, that really is all we've got time for. If you'd like to have a go in the red tray yourself and tell your story, you can contact us via our website at this very address. Please say a huge thank you to all of my guests. Jimmy Nesbitt. Andi Osho. Billie Piper. Sam Neill. And to Tom Jones. Do join me next week with singer Jessie Ware, Sister Michael from Derry Girl, Siobhan McSweeney, top comic Alan Carr, Back to Life's Daisy Haggard, Bridgerton star Reggae Jean Page, and rock legend Dave Grohl. I'll see you then. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.
Graham's back with Mama Roo for Drag Race UK. A new ep dropped last night. Press red to watch on iPlayer. Celebrity battles of brains and balls in Catch Point with Paddy McGuinness. Saturday Night Fun with BBC One tomorrow at 5:30. Next, Young Guns Gallop Our Way.